Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel. My name is Liz, and today is gonna be another story time. So as you can see by the title, the story is going to be about how I failed out of nursing school. After I graduated high school when I was like 17, I didn't graduate early. I just have a late birthday, so when I turned 18 in college. I picked a school only because it allowed freshmen to have a car for their first year. Most colleges don't allow you to have a car as a freshman. So I picked this school mainly because it was a SUNY school and it was allowed freshmen to drive cars. That didn't work out. I was at that school for about like a year and a half, and I realized it only had an associate nursing program, and I was like, I want a bachelor's. So I just took the prerequisites that I wanted for another school, and that was also another SUNY school. During that time that I went to my first school, I had like an episode, so I left, I think, the third semester. I left, I believe, in October, and I was hospitalized, I believe, from the end of October to November, and then I got placed in another foster home, and then I believe took a couple months off or a semester, whatever. In January I went to a community college and finished up my credits or my prerequisites that I was going to take to another 4-year school to get my BSN, which is a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. I think I'll put the little caption if it's wrong. So I graduate from this community college with my associates in math and science. I believe there was only 2 other courses that required me to get my associates, and they're like, hey, if things don't work out, just make sure you have your associates lined up. I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. So I took another history and a pre-calc in order to qualify for my associates in math and science, and the rest were prerequisites for another 4-year school. So I ended up graduating, and then I got accepted to the school. It was another SUNY school, but it was one of like the top SUNY schools. I'm not gonna like say the program I was in or the school I was at because privacy reasons. So I got accepted to this school. I think I had like a 3.5 or 3.0 or something like that in order for me to like get accepted or whatever. So I get accepted to the school, and then I think in August, like 3 days prior, you had orientation before classes start or something like that. I think it was in the summer where we had orientation. So we had orientation, and the first day it was just a tour on the campus, what to expect, and then the second day was about the specific nursing school and the requirements. Boy, was it extensive. Pretty much they run through it pretty quickly, but it was a lot. I was like, there was even the person who was orienting, she saw my face and she was like, it's okay, relax, I see you guys look stressed out, but it'll roll out, it's not everything on one day. So basically we pick our classes in that time, because it's specifically nursing classes, and you can't get enrolled into those classes unless you are in the program. So they set it up that way where it's like a prerequisite or a restriction. So we got to put everything in our little cart to sign up for the classes, and then the day before classes we were actually put into the classes. It was just basically a preliminary experience, like these are the classes you need to look for, these are the times you're gonna get. But pretty much it was fixed. It was just, there was like 320, 321, 322 classes like that. It doesn't specifically go into detail what you're going to be learning. It's just like, okay, here's this, that, and the third. Here are the courses you need to take. So each semester that went on, it was like stress. It was beyond stressful. So when I transferred into the program, it was a junior status. So that's when all the clinicals started. So when I was going to my first state school and my community college, I was accumulating all my prerequisites in order to transfer in as a junior in like September or August. So I transferred in as a junior, and as a junior you start your clinicals. So junior year and senior you start your clinicals. And so they were preparing me for all of that, the classes you need to sign up for, the clinicals, all the waivers, all the tuberculosis testing, all your vaccinations, your flu shot, everything, which was required in order to go into the program, because you're going to be dealing with patients and you're going to be dealing with a lot of different types of communicable diseases and things like that. So if everything he needs to be vaccinated against, you know, since like you were a child. And then in addition to that, they don't state this, but you pretty much need a car as a like prerequisite into the nursing program. And it's tough if you don't have a car, because your clinicals start at like 6:30 in the morning. I had to get up like at 5:30 in the morning, and the clinicals was from like 6:30 or 7:30 to like 2 in the afternoon. Sometimes you get out early, but it depends on your clinical instructor. So I transferred into my junior year, and I think it was a few weeks before you actually started your clinicals, because you had to sign a bunch of different waivers and obligation contracts and HIPAA contracts, which is, I think it's like, I forgot what HIPAA stands for, but I am going to put it somewhere in the bottom. I think it's like, ooh, Jesus. And this is one of the things they like harbor into you, like you have to know this, but hey. So after all that, you know, classes started like rolling, and it was pretty difficult, but I managed to stay above water. And you know, I wasn't like failing out, but I was, you know, I think it was like, I'll show up my grades, I don't really care at this point, but I think it was A's and B's. I was used to like throughout my entire like college career, I was used to A's and B's. The only time I got a C before entering into the nursing program was microbiology, and during that specific semester I was taking microbiology and organic chemistry. Ended up failing organic chemistry, and I had to retake it in the summer, but then I managed a B. But like, microbiology and organic chemistry are heavy courses, but yeah, that's what I did. Some classes were easier than others, but we did have like pathophysiology, which was like heavy science. So every semester I was there, it was just a lot of stress and me thinking, I'm not gonna get through this, I'm gonna fail out, I'm not gonna do well. But that didn't stop me. You know, I kept trying my best and, you know, did what I needed to do in order to pass these classes. But still, I wasn't giving my all, like my 100%. I got to a point where I was emailing my clinical instructors, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't think I'm gonna stay in the program. I think I'm gonna transfer out. Like, it was stressful, man. So I ended up staying in the program. So there was a point where it was like clinicals, but it was before you got into like the actual clinical rotations in different like off-campus housing, like nursing homes and the hospital and things like that. Before we were able to go into those facilities, we had to get things like checked off. Like, we had to be able to transfer a patient in bed. We had to be able to transfer a patient from a wheelchair to the bed. We had to be able to do a head-to-toe assessment. We needed to learn how to dress a bed. Yes, nurses still dress beds. We had to be able to, you know, do vital signs, blood pressure, temperature, respirations, which is like one inhalation and exhalation is a respiration. So we had to be able to learn how to do that and take pulse and things like that that were required before we were able to go off into these facilities. However, when I got to my head-to-toe assessment, I was so nervous, so freaking nervous, unbelievably nervous. I knew the material, but I just, oh God, I had to retake it. I was so nervous I had to retake it, and then the next time I took it, I was golden. I was fine, but it was just so stressful. I just memorized the material, and I'm gonna like pop up what the head-to-toe assessment requirements are and qualifications and what entails a head-to-toe assessment. So yeah, there was specific times throughout the course of the program where I was like really stressful. I was like, this is difficult. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through it. But each semester kept going by, and it was like, okay, you know, I'll be fine. But every semester I was like, I'm gonna fail out, I'm gonna fail out. And on top of that, so with the responsibilities of having a car, obviously you have car insurance, you have gas, you have to pay for food, because I was living on campus, but it was like a housing community, so I didn't really have necessarily a meal plan. I just, you know, paid for my own food. So I did not have the opportunity just to not work, so I had to work, and it was very, very stressful. And there was certain days where I just like didn't eat because I didn't have food, but it is what it is. And so I eventually got a job. I think it was like, I don't know what time, but at one point I ended up getting a job, and it was like a fast food restaurant on weekends. And then so I got through my junior year, and I think I ended my junior year with like a 2.5 or 2.7 or something like that. So my senior year rolls around, and I'm looking at the curriculum that I require in order to graduate with like my bachelor's. There was a lot of gen ed courses that I needed to take in order to obtain a bachelor's, aside my heavy nursing courses. However, it was like a whole semester worth of gen eds that I didn't see until I got into the nursing program. So if I knew I had to take these gen eds, I would have taken it in another school instead of having to take it in nursing school, which was more difficult for me. So I had all these gen eds that I had to take. So there was oral communication, which I was able to take on one of my semesters, but now it was like heavy courses. So which was a 4-credit course, global interdependencies, which was another 4-credit course, and then something else, but that was left while I got into my senior year. So I was like, how many? So I ended up having 5 courses. So it was like a music course, and then my 4 other nursing courses. And on top of that, I had 20 hours of clinicals during the week, which is 2 days a week. So it was like 10 hours. It was like 8-hour clinicals on one day and then 8-hour clinicals on the next day. But I still had to get up like an hour beforehand and stuff like that and drive there. And sometimes different locations were like, I think one of them was in like Pennsylvania, which was like an hour and 15 in order to get there. So let's say about like 20 hours for clinicals, and then I was working 20 hours on the weekends. And that did not work out too great. I'll post my what my grades ended up being, but one of the courses, which was pharmacology, which was one of the ones I failed, basically you have to memorize 140 medications. Just that's it. Throughout the course, you are required to memorize 140 medications in order to pass or do well. And then I also failed. Well, I didn't fail. I got like a D in pharmacology, which technically in the nursing program I was in is failing. So in order to pass a course in nursing, you need like a 69.5 average just for the exams before they calculate any of the extra assignments that you did. You need a 69.5 average for your exam, and you need like a 70 to pass the course. So I ended up getting a D in pharmacology. And then I also got 3 nursing violations in another course. And the reason I got those violations was because during one clinical experience, I came completely unprepared. They gave us orientation 2 weeks prior to the actual clinical day, and I wrote down notes, but I don't know where my notes were, and I kind of did my own thing, which I don't recommend, but I forgot what I had to do. So I came to the hospital at 6:30, but I didn't come downstairs until like the conference room until 7, which was, anyways, that violation was warranted. However, the 2 next violations were because I came late, which was, I believe I was like 10 minutes late, but my clinical instructor said I was like an hour late or something like that, which is just not true, but late is late anyways. And then I fell asleep during post-conference, which post-conference is after your clinical day, and then you talk about your experience, what went well, what didn't went well, how you interacted with your patients and stuff like that. So if you get 3 violations in one course, so these all violations were from the same clinical instructor, from the same clinical, and therefore you get an automatic failure of that course. So I got the 3 clinical violations from that course. So that was, I think, 362, which was just the name of the course. So it was like 362, and then that was an automatic failure. So then if you do fail a course, you have to wait like an entire year in order to retake that course. So I was planning to do that. I was like, okay, 362, that's fine, I'll just take it next fall. But however, I also failed pharmacology, which was like, I think when it got to the final, I needed like a 90 or 91 in that final. I was like, there's absolutely no way this is happening. So I tried my best. I really did. When I first started getting those exam grades and it wasn't too well, I was like, no, I can turn this around. I'll just put all my effort into this, and you know, I can make this happen. Didn't work out. So I ended up failing pharmacology, and then I got the 3 violations in the course 362. So according to the handbook of the nursing school, if you fail 2 courses, you're automatically out of the program. If you fail 2 courses at any point in your college career in nursing, once you get into your junior or senior year, like the actual nursing courses, you're like, so it could be, say you fail a course in your junior year, your fall semester junior year. You retake that, you wait until the next year to retake it, and then you happen to fail another course, which happens to some students, but you know, it is what it is. So then you wait another year to retake that course, you pass it, but then for some reason you fail another course during that time. So you waited a whole new year and now you fail another course. Well, now you're out of the program. So basically, that's kind of what happened. So it was my senior year, fall semester, and I failed 2 courses. And to be honest, it was just, I took on way too much, but at the same time, I didn't have the opportunity just to not work. Like, I just couldn't not work. So, I had like maxed out my card. I feel like every other college student, but like my cards were maxed out. I didn't have that much income coming in, and I still had my car insurance, I still had my credit card bills and stuff like that I needed to pay, and I still had to put like food on my table, like, you know. So I didn't have the opportunity just to not work. So yeah, if you notice a different angle, it's because my camera automatically shuts off. I don't know why, I need to fix that. But yeah, so that was the story of how I failed out of nursing school. If you're in a similar position, it's not the end of the world. Relax. So my plan currently, I failed out in December. When I'm filming this, it's the end of January, almost February. And so my plan is just to take a break, get a full-time job, which is already in the works. Get a full-time job, save as much money as possible, purchase a new car and move out, and then a couple years, go back to school and try to get my associates. The GPA I ended up leaving the school with was like a 2.0 or something like that, which most other colleges or community colleges or 2-year colleges will accept. So pretty much I do plan on going back in a couple years, getting my associates first. And now they require nurses to have a BSN instead of an ASN, so associates, which is a bachelor's. So I'm going to get my associates first and then plan to go work in a hospital, and then hopefully they'll cover the cost of me getting my BSN, or just try to get my BSN, because it was only, I think, 2 courses that I did end up not doing so well in. I still have all the nursing clinical experience and things like that. So if you happen to watch this video all the way through, leave a little nurse emoji, like a little hospital emoji with like a stethoscope or, you know, things like that. Things related to nursing, if you feel like it. So thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you feel like it. I just say it because YouTube makes me say it. But if you want to be notified every time I post, just hit that notification bell.